food is important and you should like it. You should like the food you're eating. You should look at your pantry and feel happy and inspired and not terrified. My pantry, it all had good things in it, but not everything I ate, not everything I had a purpose for, not everything I'd even purchased. Some stuff some people had given me, it just was not working anymore. And the stuff I didn't want, I kept working around, stacking and restacking and finding a new place for it and feeling guilty because I wasn't eating it or wasn't opening it. So that was already on an emotional basis, it was aggravating. It did not make me happy to look at my pantry. I did not feel inspired. I did not feel I had the food I needed because I actually could not see it because there was a lot of stuff I didn't need and didn't eat. I went through and really clearly identified what I was not going to ever eat or have. Now, the question comes up, what do you do with the food you don't want? Well, fortunately, I have a friend who lives in a sort of communal situation with a bunch of people who are who share food and cook together and all that. So he ended up taking, I think, 3 bags, 2.5, 3 bags worth of stuff. And for every single piece of food in there, he knew someone who would love it. So that was awesome. I was able to move those along like that. We also have in our library, we have a table where people can put free things, and often people put free food there for others to take. So that was good. I did have a place to send stuff. Some stuff was already at this point expired, so I threw it out. I know there are different rules of thumb about how long you can keep stuff after they've been expired, but you know, sometimes it's just by the time I would get around to eating it, it would be even longer. And again, if you're keeping things in your pantry until they're expired, till they're past expiry, then maybe you shouldn't have that in your pantry because it's obviously not the first thing you're going to take and the first thing you're going to eat because it's still sitting there expiring. Now, you're probably thinking, listen, I can't afford to throw out the food that's in there because I can't afford to replenish my pantry completely. Well, the food that's sitting there, you're never going to eat. So already it's wasting your time and it's wasting your space. And you don't need to replenish all that food right away. You can, you know, for less than $1 a can, you can 1 can at a time replenish your canned goods at Walmart. And I believe Dollar Tree still has some of the canned food is still $1 a can. And you can slowly strategize to rebuild the pantry with stuff you're actually going to eat, actually going to use, and what's actually going to make you happy. Because if you don't like that food now, you're not going to like it any later in a crisis. You're probably going to like it even less. So it is a good opportunity to just clear stuff out and fill it with things you like, things that your family likes, things that make you happy. Now, one of the things I did when I was clearing out my pantry and the stuff I decided to keep is I went ahead and I made little groupings of how I could put certain foods together to make meals. And that was something I had never really done before. I kind of play it by ear. So this was good. So I have a little I made a list. I took pictures. I made a list. So if I am in a situation, I'm not caught flat-footed. I know exactly what I have in there and exactly what I can do to expand what I already have in the pantry. Most of these foods are completely pantry. I have a couple things that have freezer stuff in them, but you could replace that with canned goods or whatever. So let me go through some of the groupings I came up with, and let's see what you can come up with in your own pantries. All right, here we go. 3-bean salad with some 3 different cans of beans. Hummus made out of garbanzo beans, and believe me, it was a lot cheaper than what you buy in the store and equally as delicious. I had some rice, garbanzo, Thai curry, and coconut milk. I love that combination, and I could have a meal right there with what was there. And if you have fresh veggies, you could throw that in too. I love those curries, and I have everything I need to make a good one. Red lentil soup with ajika and diced tomatoes. Now I have made it. It's really good. I have not yet done a video on it, but I will soon. It's a food bank recipe with things I got from the food bank, with the exception of the ajika, which is optional. Stir fry. You can get stir fry vegetables in cans, and I like to add nuts to mine too. Cashews are really good with rice and with a sauce. If you have a sauce on hand, or you can use soy sauce or sesame oil, whatever you have on hand. And again, you can add, fish or canned items or freezer items to this to bulk it up. Whatever you want, it's up to you. But your basis, your base ingredients are in the pantry. Taco night, of course, with rotel and beans and all that stuff. If you have some lettuce, you can add that, or some avocado, but you could probably do a pretty good job with just what you have in your pantry, the shelf stable. Pizza, pantry pizza, also delicious. Olives, artichoke hearts, sun-dried tomatoes, tomato sauce. You can rehydrate some of your dehydrated veggies like peppers, like I have done. Really a lot of possibilities with pizza. It's a great aggregator of all sorts of things. Savory polenta, and this is polenta. I'm going to be making this soon. I'm going to be adding artichoke hearts, olives, and sun-dried tomatoes to it for a really good meal. Pasta with sauce, and I earlier did a video on buying pasta sauces that already had their contents in it, like this, they might have protein in them, crumbles or sausage or mushroom or vegetables. This particular one has roasted vegetables. So all you really have to do is cook your noodles and pour it over with a little bit of cheese, and you've got a meal, a pantry meal. Rices, different rices with dehydrated vegetables or canned vegetables cooked into them. You can also use bouillon, any sort of bouillon like chicken bouillon or vegetable bouillon instead of water. For some of the unflavored rices, like a rice-a-roni or a Knorr's, already has all the flavoring you need. But if you have just plain white rice or something like that, you can flavor it up with some stock, either canned or if you have some in the freezer. Adds a lot of flavor and adds some nutrition, and also adds something that just makes you feel fuller. Simple chicken soup, chicken stock with cream of chicken soup. You can make it as thin or as thick as you want with egg noodles. You have something really comforting and a little more filling than just the soup or the bone broth alone. Also adds a nice flavor. I got this vegetable beef stew or soup at Walmart for 67 cents. You can add water. You don't have to add as much water as it recommends for soup. You can add less water, make a bunch of noodles, and you have yourself a stew. You could even add dehydrated veggies to this. Tuna casserole with dehydrated vegetables. All the stuff is shelf stable. Mac and cheese. Again, you can add canned or dehydrated vegetables to that. A salmon casserole, much like a tuna casserole, but with salmon. Same ingredients, or just add some dehydrated vegetables again, or canned veggies or frozen veggies. Salmon croquettes, little patties with some panko or breadcrumbs and egg, or a flax egg, which I've used in other videos. It's a 1 part flax and 3 parts water, like a tablespoon of flax and 3 tablespoons of water equals 1 egg, and it's a good binder. So if you don't have fresh eggs, you can use that. Of course, one of my favorites, which is the Hungry Jack potatoes, which is gussied up with chicken bouillon or bone broth from your freezer, and I usually have shredded chicken in the freezer too, but if you have canned chicken, it's delicious. And cheese on top, and suddenly you have a big old casserole that easily feeds 3 people or several meals for 2 people. Easy to do, and it starts off with these Hungry Jack potatoes, which are not much by themselves, but with the addition of a couple of ingredients, it becomes really something quite nice. So I suggest starting now. If you can't do it all at once, that's okay, but just do it. Get rid of the roadblocks in your pantry. All the menu items I showed you were already in the pantry. I didn't buy anything. They were already there. I just couldn't see the forest for the trees. I had stuff that I just didn't want in there, so I couldn't see the possibilities of what I did have. So now I look at my pantry and I'm actually kind of happy and excited. I know that no matter what happens, I have food in there and food that I like and food that other people like. So if somebody comes by unexpectedly, I can feed them and they'll be happy. So good luck, happy eating, happy cooking, and thank you so much for watching.